Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Alina Belu, always ready to host another Oxygen XML live webinar. And today's live event is called Beyond Review, Meet Oxygen Content Fusion, your AI-enabled DITA CMS. So joining me, as you can see, is my colleague, Christian Talo, product manager
Hello.
for Hi, Christy. Product manager for the Oxygen Content Fusion tool. And he'll walk us through how Content Fusion has evolved far beyond review into a powerful web-based DITA CMS. From structured authoring and Git-based version control to AI-powered refinement and publishing, we'll explore how this tool can streamline your entire documentation workflow. But before we dive in, here are a few things to keep in mind about today's event. As always, our webinars are being recorded, so the full recording will be made available in the following days on our site, oxygenxml.com, and as well on our YouTube channel, Oxygen XML. And if you haven't visited our channel yet, we highly recommend checking it out after the webinar because it's a great resource packed with tutorials, feature demos, and other helpful videos like this one. We also encourage you to ask questions throughout the session because helping us out behind the scenes is Mihai Kwanda, ready to answer your every question. And you can ask us by using the questions panel in the GoToWebinar interface. And we'll also revisit your questions during the live question and answer session at the end, so everyone can benefit from that discussion as well. So that wraps up my introduction, and I'll give the floor to Christian.
Thanks, Aline, for introducing me. Let's try to share my screen. Okay, so let's see what we are going to explore during this webinar. Aline started with the introduction. The next step will be to explore AI challenges, so the challenges that AI poses to every organization. Then understanding the AI pillars on which Content Fusion is based in order to tackle these challenges. Then we will present the core architecture of the Content Fusion CMS, and then proceed to the competitive advantages or strong points of Content Fusion. And at the end, we'll share a bit of what's next for Content Fusion, and we'll end with a Q&A section. To warm up, I was thinking to start with a poll. So I want to learn from you what's the biggest hurdle in your DITA workflow related to AI. So it's the time spent fixing AI hallucinations or invalid content, or training staff to write effective prompts or customize AI agents, or the governance and IP requirements, or is it the work to connect AI to your CMS and other workflows? And of course, if you have other hurdles, feel free to share them in the questions panel. Okay, so people are still voting. I think we already have some results. So 57% say that connecting AI to our DITA CMS is the biggest hurdle. Then comes the training staff to write effective prompts and customizing AI agents. And then there is an equality with 21% between governance and regulatory requirements and fixing AI hallucinations. Yeah, that's that's good news, because the most pressing problem is what we set out to solve. Yeah, so regarding the hallucinated and invalid content, we noticed that there is a similarity between how AI produces content and how SMEs produce content, because neither of them are very familiar with our conventions about content and with the DITA specific format. So they tend to do the same kind of mistakes, like producing invalid content, like adding a link but to an element that is profiled out or something, or not respecting our style guide. However, there are some differences between their approaches. AI has a lot of attention span to spend on reading instructions and context. SMEs are very busy usually, and they tend to just write something, and they don't have the time to read the entire style guide just to write another sentence in the documentation. Also, AI has a lot of time to use tools to fix validation problems. In general, newer AI models also know a bit of DITA more than an average SME, which never heard about that. And another thing is that AI works faster, which means you also have to review its output faster. Yeah, so there are some weapons that you can use against AI mistakes. And so the four tools are, or as I call them, the AI content pillars, are the intent. So the intent is the most important contribution of a technical writer. So you have to tell AI what content to create, and it helps if your intent is clear and specific. The other pillar is content. So in order to be able to provide content that goes well with your documentation set and is consistent in style and in formatting, AI needs to understand that context. This context can be other topics, other similar topics, or even some rules that are specifically created for AI. Another pillar is review, which is also a very important contribution that a technical writer can do. So each change that is made by AI should be approved by a technical writer, and you should do review at the same speed and scale as the AI can create content. So this is a big challenge in this AI world. And another pillar is the automation. So you need to give tools to the AI in order to check its own work and maybe correct it. Regarding security and IP risks, this problem was not very highlighted in the poll, but I want to make only one point, the last one. So Content Fusion is an AI-enabled CMS, but it doesn't force you to adopt AI right away. So AI is enabled only if you install the Oxygen AI Positron plugin. But by default, you don't. Your content is not sent to an AI without any approval or something. So only when you configure Oxygen AI Positron, Content Fusion will start to use AI to help you in various ways. And even then, you have a lot of controls of, for example, about the provider that the AI provider that Content Fusion uses. I also wanted to make another quick poll regarding the cloud services that your companies use. I want you to share what types of cloud-based services is your organization currently using. So are they Git servers or AI providers or continuous integration services or content quality checkers like Calcrolinks or Veil or Grammarly, or other services that you might need to specify in the questions view? Okay, so we are still counting the results. Yeah, so it seems that the most popular are Git servers and AI providers, both is 60%. So it seems that this is a kind of a baseline now for producing content. You need a Git server and an AI provider. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Okay, let's talk a bit about how Content Fusion evolved during the years. So it is a very, not very, but it's a quite mature product. So it started in 2018 as a review platform. It started as a way to help technical writers that use Oxygen XML editor to collaborate with subject matter experts, and specifically for getting their content reviewed. During the next 5 years, we iterated a lot on this review platform. So we learned a lot about collaboration scenarios between subject matter experts and technical writers. We also implemented a lot of helpful features like concurrent editing, where they can see each other changes in real time, and a better way to track the changes across multiple reviewers without enabling change tracking. After these 5 years, we started to realize that in order to cover even more collaboration scenarios, we need to extend the scope of Content Fusion besides a review platform. And also at the same time, there was the ChatGPT moment that took the world by storm. So we tried, at this point, we tried to redesign Content Fusion as a CMS that helps people collaborate in a broader set of scenarios. So the first step was in 2023, when we launched the projects feature, and this projects feature was a way to share context between review tasks. So all the review tasks were created from a single project, so you don't have to, for example, re-upload all the documentation in each review task, because the documentation is already stored on Content Fusion. Then we started to iterate on this project's functionality to enable technical writers to take advantage of an authoring workspace, which is hosted in the cloud, and also integrated Positron as a writing assistant in an editor side view. At this point, just a moment. So at this point, Content Fusion had Positron here in a side view, and it can receive small tasks related to the current topic. For example, you can select a section and say, expand this section with a small paragraph. And this way of working with it, like with an assistant, is very interesting. So it proposed some new content for this section, and now I can click here to insert the response. Okay. Yeah. So another option is to preview what the AI agent tries to insert. So here I can see that it tried to insert this topic in a place where it was not very appropriate. So what I can do now is to take some pieces of its answer and insert them by hand, for example. So I can copy this and apply it here. Okay. And this year, we started to integrate Positron as a workspace level agent. So besides working as an assistant and proposing small changes in a single topic, we gave it more context. We added it as an agent in the workspace, which means it can use a lot of the tools that we have as technical writers in this workspace. For example, here is a topic that I created earlier, and I intentionally added a validation error. I added an element called binary, and now I can tell Positron fix the validation error that I have in the currently open document. So it read the location of the current document, it read the content, and then it updated the document to remove that problematic element. And the nice thing is that it shows a diff between the version after it made the change and the version before making the change. And also every change that Positron makes is tracked inside the workspace. So workspace acts like a sandbox for the AI agent. So now I can decide to roll back this change that Positron made. It asks me to confirm, and then if I open the user permissions, the invalid element is here again. While this might sound simple, the ability to roll back changes and to have this sandbox where the agent can invoke tools to validate the current document is very powerful, because it can act independently on larger tasks. For example, I can start a new conversation. I can tell it create 2 new topics, one about maintenance and one about integration with other software products, and link them in the map. Do not ask for permission, just make the edits. Sometimes it is very it tries to ask for permission before making changes, so I'm trying to steer it away from this behavior. So it tries to understand what the DITA map context is. It created the two topics, added a reference in the DITA map, added another reference in the DITA map, and then it says that he's done. I can also tell it to make sure that the two new topics are valid. Yeah, so and now it can use a tool to validate whether the two topics are valid. And I can see here the integration topic, which is basically a stub, and the maintenance topic, which is also a stub. And both of them were added in the DITA map. So this high level of talking with the AI agent is a paradigm shift in how you can work with AI, and we will explore that in the later slides. Yeah, before exploring more about the architecture of the CMS, we want to reiterate our commitment for the entire documentation ecosystem. So we want to help everyone onboard AI content agents in their projects. We designed Content Fusion for organizations that work with Git repositories, and we will also be happy to continue to provide our software components like Oxygen XML Editor, Web Author, and Oxygen AI Positron for our partner CCMSs. The fact that we develop Oxygen Content Fusion offers us a way to internally test these components and how they work together and how they can solve AI use cases before making APIs available for our partners. So we are eager to collaborate in the future on bringing AI agents to everyone. Okay, so let's dive a bit deeper in each of the AI pillars that I talked about earlier. So in Content Fusion, so as I presented before, the intent is a responsibility of the user, and the CMS tries to help with managing context, reviews, and automation. So in Content Fusion, the context is basically managed through projects, and I will talk in more detail about this later. The review tools are also very important, especially now that AI can make a lot of changes in a small time. So you need to keep the pace with it. And automation is also very important because you can now spawn multiple agents that work in parallel on AI tasks, and they can validate their work in real time, so you don't have to manually check what the AI agent does. Yeah, so regarding the intent, it is very important how you express this intent. For example, a documentation topic might be very readable, but as a technical writer, you might notice that it is not very useful for a specific persona that will try to read that topic, and you can identify this problem and tell the AI to improve that topic for a specific persona. This intent expression is a skill that requires practice and iteration. For example, you can start with a simple prompt like document feature X, and the AI will certainly document that feature based on the context that you make available, but it might not be what you had in mind. So maybe you had in mind to create a getting started guide that show how to use the feature from the browser user interface, not from the command line, and so on. So while AI is very good at following orders, it still cannot read your mind. So this skill requires you to understand your hidden assumptions and preferences and make them explicit. And making them explicit can be implemented by writing a longer prompt or by writing some style guides for AI and so on. You can also save favorite prompts if you notice that you are repeating the same task over and over, or even custom AI actions. Now we get to talk about context. So context is the most important factor when it comes to AI response quality. Now, in Content Fusion, the AI agent has tools that help it to automatically build context. For example, here when I asked it to create 2 new topics, it automatically detected something about the topic that I had opened. For example, it detected that the document type is a DITA XML, and it also detected that I have a selection over this element, the binary element. It's not very relevant for the particular task, but it is there in the context just in case the agent needs to work with that. Then it reads the location of the current document. Then it goes and find what the context data map was for this topic. In this project, I have only one data map, which is this SmartDesk 3000 user manual that I opened here. And then based on the context data map, it goes on and creates 2 new topics, and then adds them in the data map. So the context, until now we saw several pieces of context. So is the context related to the current document, the context related to the data, to the context data map. There are also some other ways to provide context. For example, you can attach files either from the Content Fusion repository itself, so I can attach a file like this, and I can also attach a file from my computer, like a screenshot or something. For example, here I can add some image. And ask it to or let's give it an order. Add this image present in the and it knows that SmartDesk 3000 overview is a topic and tries to add the image to that. Okay, so besides this, so we have the publication outline, we have other existing topics. The agent can also search for existing topics. Like if I search here for release notes, I can search it myself as a human, or I can tell it find me the topics that are related to release notes, and hopefully it searched the project based on keywords, so it noticed that there is a topic called release notes and one called version 1 and one called version 2. So it also can expand its context by searching in the current project. And the list can continue. We have a feature where we can annotate a topic with the questions that it needs to answer. For example, I can go here to the troubleshooting topic, and I can say here insert intent question. This intent question is basically documents why this topic was written. So it was written to help people solve common problems with our product. So what is the first step to do in order to troubleshoot a problem? And here I annotate the topic just with the questions, not with the answers, because the answers will be contained in the content of the topic. And then when I try to make changes to this topic, I can tell the AI to make sure that the topic still answers to the questions that it was designed to answer. So this is another piece of content that is not available for the users in the published output, but is available for AI while modifying this topic. And in more advanced scenarios, you can also integrate analytics and user feedback in this context. And the addition of the projects concept in Content Fusion helps us to create a container for context. So all these pieces of context are stored inside a project. Okay, so let's move to the next phase, which is related to review. And as I mentioned, AI is creating content, but the content ownership belongs to you, so you should review everything that AI generates. As you saw, all the changes that AI makes are tracked, and you can inspect the diffs for each of the changes. So here I can go and see that a new section was added, for example. And in order to speed things up, you can even ask AI to review the changes. For example, when you have a topic opened, we have an action called proofread. And this action can try to read the document and add comments in places where something needs to be done. So this proofread action, notice that the binary element is not valid in this context and should be removed or replaced with a valid DITA element. And there is also a sibling action called resolve comments that will take the comments added by the proofread action and resolve them. So when this action is invoked, it actually resolves the the problem that was introduced earlier and detected also by AI. And as I told you, you need to always search for better ways to and more efficient ways to review content produced by AI. For example, instead of manually reading the content and searching for spelling or errors, you can run a spell checker and tell you whether there are spelling errors or not. Instead of checking whether the links updated by AI still works, just run a validation and check for the results. Sometimes you could perform these tasks faster than an automated tool, but if you run like 10 agents in parallel and they provide you with the output in 1 minute, then you can run multiple validations also in parallel and wait for 10 minutes, and then you'll have the results of 10 validations. So this, although you can do things faster, sometimes it is a habit that you may want to develop to just automate things and go and do other stuff. Also, we have some ideas for the future. For example, instead of asking whether some topic is in the right chapter, maybe you can create a visualization of the semantic clusters in your content, like we presented here on the right. And you will see that, for example, this circled blue dot should belong to this chapter, but is very far away. In some scenarios, it could be even in the middle of the orange beans. And yeah, this is also something that you would see just by looking at this graph. And you can also see some interesting some interesting things, like a chapter now, as you modify the content inside it, it became 2 chapters that are disjoint, and maybe you need to adapt the structure of the content. Okay, and then another, the last pillar that I wanted to talk about is the automation part. So here the interesting thing is that you can start multiple agents in parallel. For example, here I created 2 branches, and I will start an AI agent to work on each of the branches. So on this one, I go to the workspace and say, let's close all the tabs, write a topic about integrating with external devices. Make it 4 paragraphs long. Do not ask for permission. Just go ahead and write it. So I can start one job here, and then I can switch to another tab, go to the maintenance branch, and here start another job. About and I can tell it to write again another topic. And now I can okay, so this time I decided to just write it here, save it in a DITA topic, and add it to the map. So it's basically like having two agents, and I can switch between one and another and give them instructions and checking their works. Okay, so the first one finished and the second one also finished. Now I can go here and say validate now on this branch. I can go also here and say validate now. And then I can wait for the results. So it says that it's an unexpected topic graph element. Okay, so it didn't insert the topic in the correct position. I can say it, I can try to copy the error from here. Let's copy the entire thing to also include the DITA map file name. I got this error, fix it. Then go here. This one managed to do the job without problems. And now I can inspect the output to see what it produced. Okay, and now here I can revalidate and make sure that everything is in order. Yeah, so now both agents finished their job. So this is how I can use automation to speed things up and work on multiple issues in parallel. Okay, now let's talk a bit about the core architecture of Content Fusion. So it has this concept of a project, which is a set of files written in a structured format content, for example in DITA, and is backed by a Git repository. When I created this project, I used an internal storage, but now I can link it to an external Git repository, which is hosted on GitHub. So I can go here. I have the details saved in this place. I can enter the repository URL and then use a personal access token here. And now the content that I have in my project is available on GitHub in this repository. And I can also go to my Oxygen XML editor and try to pull the content. Let's see what branches I have available. Let's check out the main branch. Let's also check out the other branches and show a bit of a Git history. So this is the Git history of our project. What I can do now is to go here and maybe commit some of the changes. Okay, now it already detected that there is a commit in the Git repository that is on this branch. Okay, so a project has a Git repository, which can be either internal or synchronized with an external Git repository, which can be, for example, on GitHub. As any Git repository, it has multiple branches, and on each branch, there is an workspace for every user. This workspace behaves like a drafting area where you can create content, you can inspect the differences, and at the end, once you are happy with everything, you can commit those changes. And when you commit some changes, they actually get pushed to the Git repository. Yeah, so another option from this personal workspace is to create a review task with the changes that I made. Okay, so here I created a review task. In the task activity, it contains here this file that I modified. If I click it, it shows me the change that I made in my workspace. And now this file, this file is marked as a file to be reviewed. And if I share the task with some reviewers, they will see that they have to review this task, and they will go on and try to see if everything is okay. When I finish the review, when all the reviewers have finalized the review, I can close the task and I can start the integration process. The integration process will move this content to the maintenance branch. So now here I can see the task version of the content, and here I can see the project version. So after I click finish integration, this modified content inside the task will be available in the Git repository. So I click finish integration, and everything is published. Is published on the Git repository. So the maintenance branch now had a commit 14 seconds ago. And so yeah, we learned what the workspace is a temporary area, and you get one for each branch and one for each author on each branch, so you can work in parallel. The Positron AI assistant works in the same workspace where you work, and it benefits from all the context inside the project. And the AI actions are the buttons that you saw here. So these are the default actions, and each action comes with basically with a prompt and with a set of tools that can be used to do its job. For example, the fixed validation problem action has a tool that is able to validate a DITA document. So if I click this, well, this topic is already valid. So if I click it, it tries to validate the DITA map and then report back that there were no problems. So yeah, it invoked this tool to validate the current document. So now it will probably report that there was nothing to change. Yeah. Review tasks inside a project have the same features as standard review tasks that, by the way, we also support. So we don't make any backwards incompatible changes to the way review tasks work. The only difference is that when you have a review task inside a project, all the commits made by reviewers are also saved as Git commits in the repository. So now if I try to refresh this, I can see here, so this is a commit that was made on the review task by me, and also the commit that integrates the review task. So this is what happens when you integrate a review task. Okay, now let's talk a bit about publishing. Here there is some terminology to introduce. So we have the concept of a publication. As we try to explain in the UI also, a Content Fusion publication defines a DITA map and an optional DITA val pair, which are used to resolve keys and filter profiled content in topics. So this publication is basically defines a logical publication. For example, the user guide for a specific product. and is used both in publishing and also during authoring as a context. So here you get to see the table of contents of this publication. Here in this view, you can manage the publications. So when you configure a publication, you get exactly what was mentioned before. You get the path to the DITA map and the path to the DITA val. In this case, we don't use profiling, so this publication has only a DITA map. Okay, now each publication, so there is a publication management page, and each publication has a button to view its deliverables. So right now we don't have any deliverable associated to the Smart Desk 3000 user manual, so I can go ahead and create one. So a deliverable is associated with a publication and specifies a specific output type, which is a web help or PDF currently. So let's say it's a Smart Desk 3000 web help. This is the name of the deliverable. I can choose the type to be web help. Then we have another concept, which is called the publishing template. This concept is also used in Oxygen XML editor. It's the same publishing template format that works with Oxygen XML editor and Oxygen publishing engine. We have a couple of predefined templates. You can also create custom ones if you click duplicate and edit. And we have a visual editor that lets you customize the template. So for example, here I can go and choose various colors for various things and so on. Yeah, so when I'm ready, I can click finish and my custom template is updated. I can click to choose it and save the deliverable. We also have this concept of connectors. Connectors are kind of a plugin that is used to take a deliverable and publish it on a publishing platform. For example, what we support now is Amazon S3, some SVTP enabled server, or Netlify. So this is basically a tool that takes your PDF or web help and deploys it on a cloud service. So we have this publication, we have these multiple deliverables associated with the same publication, and they are published to the cloud by using these connectors. Now let's iterate a bit through the strong points of the Content Fusion CMS. So the workspaces feature was designed to allow AI agents to work in a sandbox and to have multiple of them working in parallel. Also, when we add functionality for authors in the UI, we also try to add tools for AI agents so that AI agents can do a similar job that you can do using the UI. We have this visual diff tool that I presented earlier, where you can see the changes made by AI and inspect whether you agree with them or not. Another interesting thing is that Content Fusion supports multiple document formats. For example, it also supports Markdown, so you can create. So here I created a styleguide.md file, which contains instructions for the AI agent, and you can attach it in various chats. So here, when I have this file, I can say attach and select styleguide.md, and then I can tell it to open, to modify, for example, user permissions, to adhere to the style guide. And the useful thing is that most of the large language models are natively Markdown speakers. And another advantage of Content Fusion is that it has an internal Git layer which is optimized for many branches and many agents working in parallel, even for large Git repositories. So when I opened two tabs on different branches from the same project, there are no two checkouts, there are no two working copies on somewhere on the server. So everything is stored only once. And it is very lightweight to create branches and to have multiple branches open in parallel and agents working on those branches. Regarding the storage, we try to be very open. So our content format is DITA. It is not a specialization of DITA. So it is compatible with every other tool. There is no migration or rewrite that you need to do to the DITA content when you decide to use other tools. We also use some other open standard tools like Git or Schematron. Also, besides having access to the entire content as DITA, you also have the full version history stored in the Git repository, not just a snapshot of the content that you export at some point and move to another tool, and then you lose all the tracking of changes that you had. And another advantage of using Git as storage is that Content Fusion is interoperable with other Git-enabled services like continuous integration services and quality checkers that work with GitHub and so on. For the review part, there are some strong points that we had for quite some time here. And the strong points of Content Fusion related to publishing is that it contains this visual customization tool, which is called Oxygen Styles Basket, that I showed a bit earlier. So here, if I click Edit and go to the custom template, I can modify a lot of aspects of the published content just by clicking things in the UI. For example, I can change the format of the table of contents, include sections in the table of contents, and so on. The header, the footer of the page. This is so the most common customizations are very easy to make. Also, the PDF engine that Content Fusion uses is Oxygen PDF Chemistry. So it generates PDF customized with CSS. So you don't have to learn XSLFO in order to customize the output. So even when the visual customization tool is not enough, you can write CSS in order to modify the look and feel of both web help and PDF. Actually, this is another interesting and useful aspect, that any change you make here in the styles basket is applied to both PDF output and web help output. So you get a consistent look across output formats. Now, as our plans for the future, we will continue to improve the CMS across the AI pillars that I mentioned at the beginning. So we are working to add more ways to share context at the project level. For example, now you can add custom AI actions, which are available for every project on the platform through the administration page. We are moving that to the project level so that different projects can have different AI actions. Also, file templates will be customizable at the project level. Also, we have some ideas internally how to improve the review tools to be more efficient for both small changes where the LLM just corrects some spelling mistake, and for large changes when you need to assess changes across multiple files. And we also plan to implement more tools for agents such that they can do more complex jobs. For example, one example would be to inspect the list of files that are changed in the workspace and to make sure that every change is I don't know, it's does not any change does not violate the style guide. Well, I think this brings us to the end of the webinar. I will pass it to my colleague Alin to let us know if there were any questions in the meantime.
Thank you, Christy. You can have the share screen because maybe you want to show something, or you can address it better for someone's question. Now, we got some interesting questions regarding Oxygen Content Fusion, but regarding Oxygen AI Positron Assistant as well. So, first question, how do you provide training data to Positron?
Well, so Positron currently uses off-the-shelf language models, which are pre-trained on a vast amount of information. And now maybe you're referring to training data in order to have it more customized for your product. And our current approach to this level of customization is by using custom AI actions, custom prompts, and also tools that helps it to discover more context. It also helps, for example, if you can write a small style guide and pass it to the AI agent when it writes things, as opposed to a style guide for humans. In a style guide for AI, you may be able to omit the obvious things like don't use passive voice and so on. Maybe you can write it to use some popular style guide, like use the Microsoft style guide, but with these extra changes. And this is how you can manage to keep it shorter.
And it's important to remind people that Positron is not an LLM itself. It leverages the powers of LLMs, one of your choosing. Okay, does Oxygen Content Fusion include Oxygen AI Positron?
The license of Oxygen Content Fusion includes Oxygen AI Positron, but technically you have to install Positron as a plugin. That's because we want that every organization adopt AI at their own pace. So when they are ready to adopt AI, they can install the plugin and use it. But the license allows you to use Oxygen AI Positron without extra costs.
Thank you. We got a question from Maxine. Is there a webinar recording available that demonstrates more about the CCMS functions of Oxygen Content Fusion? For example, how content is stored into the CCMS, workflow available for the CCMS, admin functions. And of course, Maxine, if you could share more on what you would like for a future webinar to cover, maybe we will add this into our planning.
Yeah, and also you can write us on our support channel, and maybe we can do a special demo tailored for your team and for the things that you want to discover.
I think Maxine actually asked us multiple questions. Several mentions were made during this webinar of a Git repository. Is Oxygen Content Fusion architected to require a Git repository for storage?
So Content Fusion so it has an internal storage that is Git compatible. And it is architected to work very similar to how Git works. So it supports branches, it supports commits, merges, and everything. And you can also configure it to use an external Git server where your content resides and can be also accessed by other tools. So you are not required to have an external Git server, but the way that Content Fusion works internally is basically the way you work with a Git repository.
How is a workspace different from a branch?
That's a good question. So I imagine a workspace being more similar to your local working area on your computer. So you check out a branch and then you modify some files, and then you have to commit those changes in order for them to be saved on that branch. So currently there is a one-to-one relation between a workspace and a branch. For us, the branch is the thing that all the technical writers on the platform see, and the workspace contains also some changes that are private to you. So only you can see those changes made in the workspace. It's like a personal drafting area.
Another question, when I use positron commands like rewrite content, I often want to use some of the AI suggestions, but not others. Are there plans to support accepting individual suggestions?
Yes. Yes, in the so you can either insert everything and then cherry pick the changes that you don't want to include, or you can use the preview button. Let me show a bit how it works. So if I say here resolve comments, I have a preview button. And so here it made a change and also added an ID to the example. And yeah, I see that for some reason the version on the left is not editable, but it should be. So you should be able to bring changes from the proposed version to your version individually. Maybe we need to make a maintenance build and understand why it doesn't work in this case.
I think that these were all the questions. I'm sorry if I missed any of your questions, but you can write to us on at our support at oxygenxml.com mail address, or use the Oxygen feedback platform that you can find on the event page of our webinar. Of course, we will take another look through the questions panel to see if something was not addressed already, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, I will take now the control for the share screen. Again, thank you to everyone that was able to join us today, and of course, big thank you to Christian Tello for helping us with this presentation, full of great information, and we hope that we can see him again at our future presentations, because as you saw, Christy, a lot of people are interested in the CMS solution. Right now, we don't have any other live webinars scheduled. During the summer, as you all know, it's a little bit more of a slow period, but we will definitely update you on this on our social media, and you can also check our events page, where you can see in real time when we add other web events or the future conferences where you can meet the Oxygen team in person. And once more, I remind all of you that we will be adding the recording for today's event on our site, and also on our YouTube channel, Oxygen XML. So be sure to check it out starting tomorrow, because we have high chances to add it there then. And yeah, that's it from my part. Christy, if you want to say something to our audience before we leave.
Yeah, just thanks for attending, and hope we'll see again in a future webinar, maybe in a couple of months.
Thank you, and again, big thanks to Mihai Kwanda, that was behind the scenes and helped us with some of your questions. So again, thank you, and bye-bye. See you soon.